Welcome to the deep dive. If you work in audio, you've almost certainly seen the big, flashy rollout videos for Cubase 14 and Studio One 7, and they look amazing, right?
On the surface, absolutely. I mean, Cubase is talking about 6 new modulators, better CPU performance. Studio One's highlighting, a faster feature release cycle.
All the good stuff. But our mission today is to look past that, right?
Hey,
To
you.
get straight into the fine print.
Exactly. We're skipping the shiny marketing and digging into the pricing and the policy changes that actually affect you, the professional user who relies on these tools.
Because the real update, it wasn't really about features, was it?
No, it was a carefully calculated shift in how these companies monetize their long-term users. We need to analyze how they're shifting the goalposts on what ownership even means.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with Cubase. The immediate shock for everyone was the price jump.
A huge jump.
Yeah, we're talking about upgrading from a recent version, like V13 to V14. It went from around $100 up to basically $200. So what's the specific issue here that makes people feel like it's a tax?
It's the imbalance. It's just the sheer imbalance of it. Users who have owned the software for years, the people who have been funding Cubase's development with every upgrade.
Their most loyal customers.
Precisely. They now pay that full doubled price. But a brand new customer, someone buying cross-grade from a competitor, they get a 25% discount to come on board.
So it makes your historical investment feel like a penalty.
It absolutely does. And that's frustrating, but it's not even the most aggressive part. The really sharp end of the stick here revolves around their old hardware, the iLicenser dongle.
Okay, so to play devil's advocate here for a second, couldn't Steinberg just argue they need to modernize, that phasing out the old dongle is just, a necessary part of evolving their code?
They do make that argument, but it's the timing that turns it into a high-pressure trap. And this is the crucial detail for anyone on an older version.
Yeah.
Cubase is permanently, and I mean permanently, closing its iLicenser service on May 20, 2025.
Wow. So if you're on, say, version 10 or earlier, and you still use that little USB stick,
Yep.
and it breaks after that date, your license for software you might have owned for 15 years just dies?
It's gone. There is no recovery.
Yeah.
The only way to get out of that trap is to pay the $250 upgrade fee right now to get onto their new system. It's not just modernization, it's a forced migration.
Okay, so if Cubase used a hardware threat, Studio One's strategy was a bit more subtle. More insidious, maybe. They changed their entire upgrade cycle.
They used to give you a few years, a grace period. Now it's strictly annual updates only, $149 a year.
So what does that actually mean? They didn't force you into a subscription, but...
But they functionally did. The license is, technically perpetual. You own it.
Yeah.
But if you skip just 1 year, you are completely frozen out. No new features, no bug fixes. And this is the critical part. No future operating system compatibility.
So if you want your software to keep working, you're now basically renting it.
You're renting it annually. And just like Cubase, there's a real lack of appreciation for past investment. Pro owners, who paid way more upfront, pay the exact same upgrade price as artist owners.
And what about people who paid for add-on features that are now just like part of the base package?
Zero credit. Nothing. It's a consistent pattern with both of them.
So putting it all together, what's the takeaway here? We have two major platforms, both implementing really aggressive changes. Cubase forces a migration with a price hike. Studio One shifts to a high-pressure annual model.
And neither of them mentioned these massive structural shifts in their big launch videos. It was all about the shiny new features.
Which leads to a much bigger question, doesn't it?
It does. And it's a question for you, the professional user, to think about. If the very foundation of your studio, the tools you've bought and rely on, can be held hostage by a software update, how much control do you really have? Is the future of DIU's true ownership, or is it just perpetual software rental?